Good morning and welcome to Government House here in Canberra on this beautiful day. My name is Gerard Martin and I am the Secretary to the Council for the Order of Australia and the Secretary to the Australian Bravery Decorations Council. I wish to acknowledge the Ngunnawal people as the traditional custodians of the land we are meeting on today and recognise any other people or families with connection to the lands of the ACT and the region. I acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and the contribution they make to the life of this city and the region. I would also like to acknowledge and welcome any other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today. I'd also like to acknowledge and welcome our official guests this morning. Vice Admiral Mark Hammond, Chief of Navy, and Mrs. Jodie Hammond. Air Commodore Vince Chong, representing the Chief of Air Force. Ms. Shelley Rays, Chair of the Council for the Order of Australia. Dr. Shubho Banerjee, Deputy Commissioner of the Australian Public Service Commission. Commissioner Rhys Kershaw, Commissioner of the Australian Federal Police. Ms. Kerry Hartland, Director General of the Australian Secret Intelligence Service. Ms. Nina Davidson, Deputy Director General, Office of National Intelligence. And the Honourable Vicky O'Halloran, President of the Order of Australia Association, and Mr. Craig O'Halloran. The Australian Honours System is an important mechanism to recognise and celebrate ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Today is a special day not only for the recipients, but also for their families, their friends, and their communities. It's a day when we celebrate a diverse range of impressive achievements and service. We here at Government House are privileged to play a small part in the recognition and celebration of that achievement. I hope we can help make today an occasion that you will recall with pride for years to come. Shortly, I'll invite you to stand if you're able as the Governor-General enters the room. Please then remain standing for the Australian National Anthem. After I read their names and citations, the recipients will enter the room from the doorway on my right. And after I've read a short biography of their service and they've been invested, they will leave by the centre aisle to take their seats at the back of the room. At this point, you may like to show each of them a short applause in recognition of their achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, please now stand for the arrival of Her Excellency the Governor-General and the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please take your seats.
Well, good morning, everybody. It makes perfect sense that it is an absolutely glorious Canberra morning that we're here to celebrate the very best of Australia. So welcome, everyone. As Gerard has done, I also want to acknowledge that we meet today on the lands of the Ngunnawal people, and I pay my respects to their elders past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who join us here for this wonderful celebration this morning. I also join Gerard in acknowledging our distinguished guests, and I want to thank the RMC Band for their national anthem rendition and the music that we'll enjoy later in the gardens at morning tea. It's very special to hear that very fine music. The band recently represented us at Gallipoli for the ceremonies across Gallipoli for the 2 days of ceremonies at that very special moment. Welcome to Government House. This is a place of peace and welcome where absolutely everyone belongs. And as the first Canberra-born Governor-General, it is for me a special privilege in this, the 50th anniversary of our honours system. 50 years of honouring wonderful Australians, and to bestow these awards on many Canberrans and people from the region who have given so much to this important capital city and the region is especially important today. As Gerard has said, Government House plays a small part in this moment, but for us, investitures are the inspirational moment for us all, with glimpses of the service, integrity, creativity, care and achievement that flourish across our nation. We cannot help but be moved by your contributions and your selflessness. Many of you would know that, together with my team, I've just returned from an official visit to Turkey, Egypt and the United Arab Emirates, with attendance at short notice at the sacred, monumental and simple funeral of Pope Francis. Of course, the centrepiece of our trip was to be at Gallipoli for Anzac Day, and on Anzac Day morning at the dawn service to commemorate the 110th anniversary of the first landings there. The Chief of Navy was also there with us, and I was delighted to stand beside him to represent Australia. Standing in these places where Australians fell so long ago and meeting the Australians, many of them, the pilgrims, the diplomats, defence personnel, who today represent our diverse modern nation, brought home to me so clearly that Australians, past and present, near and far, carry with them a deep commitment to care and share the qualities of courage, resolution and respect, imagination and deep kindness. It also brought to mind another commemoration. On Christmas Day, just at the end of last year, I was in Darwin with the Prime Minister and the Chief of Defence for the 50th anniversary of Cyclone Tracy. In fact, the Chief of the Defence Force was with me, not only representing Defence, but he was one of the young people evacuated from Darwin as a boy affected by that terrible cyclone. Together with about 1,200 others who were there for the commemoration, we remembered the remarkable courage and recovery and the care that Darwin's people showed for each other and for their city, and for all their fellow Australians who showed deep care for those affected by that tragedy. So it's not surprising that their efforts were reflected in the very first honours list in 1975. Women like Corporal Rose Finn and RAF nurse Brenda Walton, who were made members of the Order that year because of their tireless care in the hours and days that followed that disaster. And Major General Alan Stretton, head of the then brand new National Disasters Organisation, his excellence in overseeing the evacuation of Darwin led to him being not only made an officer of the Order, but he was 1975's Australian of the Year. In the same year, in the honours list, we find people like Patrick White, Manning Clark, Joan Sutherland and Nugget Coombs, all made companions of the Order that year. In its very beginning, as it does today, the Order of Australia recognises the best and the bravest, the kindest and the greatest of Australians. Ever since, our honours system has been a record of how Australians respond to the perils and to the promise of life in our country. And today, 50 years later, we invest our 2025 honorees. Today, we celebrate the fact that you belong in the company of the Australians whose lives we cherish and whose lives have had a lasting impact on our country and the world. Now, when I became your Governor-General, I undertook during my term to focus unstintingly on the uplifting power of care, kindness and respect. Care for each other, care for those that do the care for others, care for our extraordinary continent and its environmental beauty and the riches it's given us, care for civics and institutions like the honours system, and care for the way in which we debate and discuss the really tough issues of our time without judgment, anger or violence. Care also means reflecting on the braided strength we find in the unique history of our nation. 65,000 years of continuous Indigenous history and culture shared so generously with every one of us has come since. Of the stability, equality and prosperity assured by the strength of our democracy and institutions of government, part of which I represent as your Governor-General. And of our modern chapter, the one we live in now and have been enjoying for the last 50 or 60 years of belonging, progress and success, underpinned by remarkable multiculturalism. Over half a century of immigration and refugee arrivals to this country, over 7.5 million migrants and almost 1 million refugees to our nation. I also made a commitment at the start of my term to amplify the stories of those who embed care and kindness in the way they encounter the world around them. And this is what I feel during Investitures Week. And I feel it this morning in this room as I look around both at those to be invested and those that have supported these great Australians. It's been a privilege to learn about the stories of those that we'll invest this morning, and I will take those stories with me wherever I travel, whether it's across the country or around the world. I want to thank our honorees for everything you have done and you continue to do every day. As we celebrate half a century of Australian honours, our group of honorees today, together with those we're investing around the country in government houses in every state and territory, you embody the legacy of our values that we cherish. Thank you also to your families and friends and colleagues who have nurtured and supported you and who join you to celebrate today. I look forward to meeting all of them in the morning tea that will follow our ceremony. Congratulations on your very well-deserved awards. I'm very much looking forward to shaking your hands and presenting your insignia.
Your Excellency, to be appointed an Officer of the Order of Australia in the Military Division, Rear Admiral Jonathan Early, for distinguished service to the Royal Australian Navy in key command and senior leadership positions. Rear Admiral Early demonstrated remarkable leadership, judgment and professional expertise to deliver strong results for the Royal Australian Navy, the Australian Defence Force and the Government. His political acumen, intelligence and initiative were constant factors in building trusted, productive working relationships, both nationally and with international partners. Rear Admiral Early's efforts have contributed to developing a Navy that is available, sustainable and more capable for the environment it will face in the years to come. Rear Admiral Jonathan Early, appointed an Officer of the Order. To be appointed a member of the Order of Australia in the General Division, Professor David Hedon, for significant service to history preservation as a historian, cultural advisor and author. Professor Hedon is a cultural consultant and historian who has ensured that current and future generations of Australians have an understanding of our culture and history. He has been a consultant on multiple ABC TV series and was former co-chair of the ACT Place Names Committee, authoring numerous books on the people who inspired place names. Professor Hedon was also a history and heritage advisor for the Centenary of Canberra. Currently, he is an honorary professor at the Australian Studies Institute and club historian at the Canberra Raiders. Professor Hedon is a man of great insight and deep social conscience, with a contagious enthusiasm for Australian history. Professor David Hedon, appointed a member of the Order. To be appointed a member of the Order of Australia in the General Division, Mrs. Sylvia Tulk, for significant service to the renewable energy, innovation and technology commercialisation sectors. Mrs. Tulk has been at the forefront of the energy transition to a greener future over many decades. She has sought to create new opportunities, technology and frontiers for Australian businesses. She is renowned for being generous with her time and expertise, providing advice and mentorship to many. In addition to her corporate roles, she is President of the Australian National Eisteddfod. Australia and the world is a richer place for Mrs. Tullock's far-reaching contributions for a more prosperous and sustainable future. Mrs. Sylvia Tulk, appointed a Member of the Order. To be appointed a Member of the Order of Australia in the Military Division, Air Commodore Matthew McCormack, for exceptional service in advancing the F-35A Lightning II air combat capability for the Australian Defence Force. Air Commodore McCormack delivered exceptional achievements through leadership, vision, tenacity and acumen in advancing the F-35A Lightning II air combat capability. These efforts have been critical to developing a key pillar of Australia's strike and integrated air and missile defences that is widely recognised amongst our allies. Air Commodore McCormack has made a difference to current and future air combat capabilities that will provide lasting benefits for the Australian Defence Force. Air Commodore Matthew McCormack, appointed a Member of the Order. To be awarded the Medal of the Order of Australia in the General Division, Mr. Jesse Ongles, for service to sport as a gold medalist at the Paris Paralympic Games 2024. The Paris 2024 Paralympic Games, Mr. Ongles won a gold medal in the mixed 4x100 medley relay alongside teammates Tim Hodge, Emily Beecroft and Alexa Leary. Winning his first Paralympic gold medal, he represented our nation with the utmost dignity and integrity, consistently upholding the core values of the Paralympic movement. Mr. Ongles is an exceptional athlete, having also received a gold and silver medal in the men's 200-metre individual medley at the 2014 and 2018 Commonwealth Games, and a silver and bronze medal at the World Paraswimming Championships in 2019. His success at the Games reflect his dedication, years of training, and his elite competitive drive. Mr. Jesse Ongles, awarded the Medal of the Order. To be awarded the Medal of the Order of Australia in the General Division, Ms. Evelyn Callahan, for service to early childhood education. Ms. Callahan has dedicated her career to early childhood education, particularly as Director at Deakin School for Early Learning and the Park School for Early Learning. Through her commitment, she has provided a positive early childhood education experience to countless young people. She has co-authored 2 books for both children and adults, ABC Canberra, A Beautiful City, and a walk in the park, creating rich, irresistible environments for young children. In addition, throughout her career, Ms. Callahan has nurtured professional practice of early childhood educators and young graduates who have worked alongside her. Ms. Evelyn Callahan, awarded the Medal of the Order. To be awarded the Medal of the Order of Australia in the General Division, Ms. Stacy Campton, for service to netball and to the Indigenous community. Ms. Campton is from Gungari country in southwest Queensland and has worked in First Nations affairs for 30 plus years in multiple sectors across government, tertiary education and not-for-profits. Her influence as Director of Indigenous Engagement at the Narara Willem Centre has been profound, showing resilience in the face of challenges and always advocating for a deep respect for cultural practices. As an umpire coach and former First Nations Advisory Committee Chair at Netball Australia, Ms. Campton also coaches and mentors umpires moving up the ranks. She is a remarkable person who has helped pave the way for many others. Ms. Stacy Campton, awarded the Medal of the Order. To be awarded the Medal of the Order of Australia in the Military Division, Warrant Officer Gary Anderson, for meritorious service to the Australian Defence Force in joint leadership roles. Warrant Officer Anderson has held a number of critical senior joint appointments. In each demanding role as the senior enlisted officer, he has displayed outstanding leadership, astute management, and professional mastery to deliver superb outcomes for the Australian Defence Force. His devotion to his responsibilities in diverse, challenging, and evolving roles has combined to advance the effectiveness of integrated workforces to deliver the Australian Defence Force's operational outcomes. Warrant Officer Gary Anderson, awarded the Medal of the Order. To be awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Wing Commander Lachlan Melville, for outstanding achievement in leading and managing Australian Defence Force acquisition of integrated air and missile defence capabilities. Wing Commander Melville's leadership and expertise has progressed Australian integrated air and missile defence capability projects under complex and challenging circumstances. Through his outcomes, a competitive evaluation process has been developed that has become the benchmark for industry to work with defence during the early stages of acquiring military capability. We thank him today for his service to Australia and the Australian Defence Force. Wing Commander Lachlan Melville, awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross. be awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross, Wing Commander Janine Tilllet, for outstanding achievement implementing gender in military operations reform for the Royal Australian Air Force. Wing Commander Tillet's remarkable initiative, tenacity and skill were crucial in her role as Command Gender Advisor in Headquarters Air Command to deliver gender in military operations reform for the Royal Australian Air Force. Her marvellous contribution has left a defining legacy with enduring benefits across defence while elevating Australia's reputation for leadership in this field. Wing Commander Janine Tillett awarded the Conspicuous Service Cross. To be awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms. Jodie Mchuan, for outstanding public service in significant policy and legislative reform at the Australian Federal Police. Ms. Mchuan developed a policy position that centred on harm reduction and created efficiencies for frontline policing resources with the changes of the Drugs of Dependence Amendment Act 2022. She has also led work raising the minimum age of criminal responsibility to 14 by 2025, which included the difficult task of working with child protection agencies to ensure that appropriate services could be in place to deal with young persons that could no longer be taken into police custody. Ms. Mchuan is an outstanding role model and is widely respected for her dedication to leading the values of the Australian Federal Police and the Australian Public Service. Ms. Jodie Mchuan awarded the Public Service Medal. To be awarded the Public Service Medal, Mr. Edward Russell, for outstanding public service as Australia's representative in conflict zones during the Israel-Hamas conflict. Following attacks in the Middle East in 2023, Mr. Russell facilitated a wide-scale and logistically complex consular response to support the safe passage of over 200 Australians and their family members to depart an active conflict zone. He was on the ground to report on evolving positions, which was instrumental in informing the Australian government's policy development on the crisis. Amidst an uncertain conflict situation and mounting security concerns, Mr. Russell's leadership, judgment, proactivity and advice were exemplary. Mr. Edward Russell awarded the Public Service Medal. To be awarded the Public Service Medal, Ms. Sue Saunders, for outstanding public service in innovation, service delivery, and outstanding leadership through the development and implementation of the Fair Entitlements Guarantee Act 2012. Ms. Saunders was responsible for leading the safety net program that provides financial assistance to cover certain unpaid employee entitlements for those who have lost their job due to liquidation or bankruptcy of their employer. Her tireless work, exceptional leadership, and stakeholder management were critical, which also significantly improved staff morale and fostered an environment where staff were proud to work. Ms. Sue Saunders, awarded the Public Service Medal. To be awarded the Australian Intelligence Medal, Mr. Jonathan Olrich, for distinguished service to the national intelligence community. Mr. Olrich's ability to improve economic and strategic connections between policy and intelligence communities positively impact policy development and our national intelligence capability. His contribution to the Office of National Intelligence and the national intelligence community more broadly goes beyond his specific analytical achievements. Mr. Olrich has built extensive sources of knowledge that are a vital resource for policy agencies, other intelligence agencies, and think tank communities. Mr. Jonathan Olrich, awarded the Australian Intelligence Medal. To be awarded the Australian Intelligence Medal, Mr. Michael Tink, for distinguished service to the national intelligence community. Mr. Tink is an intelligence pioneer who has positively impacted the national intelligence community by informing and shaping its activity and insights in areas of critical national interest. He was instrumental in the increased adoption of cutting-edge capabilities with a commitment to continuous improvement and leveraging relationships to support a diverse range of operational contexts. Mr. Tink has demonstrated exemplary interagency leadership and helped transform his own organisation into a world-leading provider of intelligence. Mr. Michael Tink, awarded the Australian Intelligence Medal. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the presentations for this morning, and we might just have one last round of applause for all our nominees. I'll shortly invite the recipients to join Her Excellency for a formal photograph at the state entrance, and then in a moment everyone else is welcome to move to the lakeside lawn for refreshments. Please note that our photographer will be capturing a photograph with each of the recipients, their guests, and the Governor-General today during the reception. This is your opportunity also to take a selfie with the Governor-General, so please have your phones ready. Can I ask that you please now stand for the departure of Her Excellency and the recipients. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please now feel free to move around the ground floor and out onto the lawn. Thank you.